Hi YouTube, it's so good to see you again. It's been a while, but I'm super happy to be back. And today I wanted to make a video about shyness. I wanted to talk about how I used to be shy and what I did to not be shy anymore. And this was a very long-running thing for me. I think I was always a quiet kid, but to kind of illustrate just how shy I was, when I was in maybe 6th or 7th grade, my mom, was trying to encourage me to go talk to people, and so she took me to Starbucks and she was like, all right, Tiffany, like, here's the money. You're gonna go and order our drinks for us and then bring them back. And I begged her to not make me do it because I was terrified. I was so afraid. She's like, no, you should. It's good for you. And she was right. I agree. But I went in to the store and I was like shaking as I ordered our drinks, but I ordered and of course nothing happened. It was fine. But as I was waiting for the drinks, I saw that they had these kind of towers or cabinets with the merchandise that they sell. And I hid behind one of those so that the cashiers couldn't see me, because I just wanted to disappear. And I guess I hid too well, and they forgot about my drink order. So I think I waited for maybe like 20 minutes behind that stack of merchandise, and then there was no way that I was gonna go back and ask them what had happened to the drinks. So I just ran out to the car, and my mom was like, "What happened?" And I was just crying like, "I don't know." So so that happened, and I think that kind of paints a picture of how scared I was of talking to people at that time. But even when I was older, I was like 19, and it was during my gap year in between high school and college, and I needed to find a job, and so I went to some of the local restaurants to see if any of them were hiring, but it was so painful to go and ask to speak to the manager or ask if I could have a job application. I would drive myself there and then probably spend an hour in the car crying and shaking and trying to get myself to have the courage to go and do it, and then I would do it, and then I would come back and cry again for another hour, and it was really painful, and I'm not like that anymore, which I'm so glad to be free of that. So that's why I wanted to make this video. I have a couple tips that really made a difference for me, and if you happen to search for this video on something to help you handle your shyness and not feel that way anymore, this is what I did for that. So let's see, the first thing, and if I keep looking down, it's because I have my notes down here. I want to do kind of just long form talking in this video. So the first thing that I would really recommend is to stop identifying as shy. I think that when we identify as something, we make it that much harder to become the other thing that we're probably wanting to be more. And so really try and pay attention to how often you describe yourself as shy. Do you say it to yourself just every day, regularly? Do you reinforce the concept that you're shy when you have a social interaction, and you're awkward, or when you see a person, do you immediately think, oh, well, I'm shy? Or are there people in your life that kind of reinforce, yeah, you're a shy person? And especially yourself, because you can control yourself, I really recommend to try and cut that out as much as you can. Now, you don't have to say you're, a charismatic social butterfly. because that probably doesn't feel true. But something that's a little bit closer is you can just say like, I'm not shy, I'm quiet. And you can really start to change the way that you identify. That to me was really where I needed the room to become something else than what I already thought I was, which was shy at that time. So that's number one, stop identifying as shy. Two, and kind of along those, a little bit along those lines, is don't try to be extroverted. I know that when I was shy, I would look around at the people that didn't seem shy, and the ones that seemed the least shy were the most charismatic. They were open and bubbly and loud and extroverted, and I felt like in order to not be shy, I needed to be like them. And that the space between there felt impossible to bridge, and that's not true. Like I said, I don't consider myself shy anymore, but I am an introvert. And what I mean by introvert is I love my alone time. I prefer intimate one-on-one conversations rather than a group. And I recharge alone. So I don't consider myself an extrovert, but I don't need to be in order to not feel afraid of people or terrified. And I really am very different from the way that I was before. I can talk to whoever. It doesn't matter if they are the CEO of the company I work for, or a famous person, or anybody. It doesn't faze me anymore, and I that's why I wanted to share this with you. So, but I am still an introvert. So don't try to be an extrovert at first as you're working on this. Of course, maybe the shyness is getting in the way and you are an extrovert at heart. But start with baby steps. Start with not identifying as shy anymore, maybe just as a quiet person. And slowly you can grow and morph in different ways. Sorry, my nose is tickling me. Slowly you can grow and morph in different ways. So the next two tips I think are the biggest. They had the biggest impact for me in terms of changing how the interactions that I had with people. And the next tip that I'm going to say is focus all of your attention during an interaction with a person on learning about that person. So what do I mean when I say put your focus on learning about the other person? I am talking about what they're saying. To be a good conversationalist, it's very easy to tell when someone is just they already know what they're going to say and they're just waiting for you to finish. They're not actually taking in what you're saying. So yes, do pay attention to what the other person is saying. But that wasn't necessarily what I was, that I wasn't doing. What I found out was that my attention during an interaction with another person was totally inwardly centered and often critical, but it was very internally focused. It was about, how am I looking right now? I probably sound stupid. That was a really awkward thing that I did. What do they think of me? I'm not good at this. And I could keep going with all of the things that I was repeating to myself about myself in the interaction. And to focus instead on the other person means to take in as much information as I can about that person in this moment that I'm interacting with them. So I don't mean, ask them about their family and what their childhood was like and their favorite color, and you can do that. But especially when you're trying to work on your shyness, I found that asking additional questions was not, I couldn't do it. It wasn't in my playbook yet. But what I could do was, they're saying whatever sentence they're saying to me. Let's say I run into someone at the grocery store who is a little bit more chatty than usual and, you know, is telling me something or asking me a question. Paying attention to them means notice, do they have any mannerisms? Are they a hand talker like me? Do they talk from the corner of their mouth? Do they say certain words that, you know, maybe aren't as common? Are they very expressive with their eyebrows? Are they fidgeting? Do they sound nervous or stressed? And again, just taking in as much information as you can about that person, and making that the goal of the interaction, as opposed to not being awkward or making a friend the goal, which that was harder to control, right? That requires a little bit more finesse and a little bit of luck too from the other person, versus just really honing in on who that other person is and the details of who they are. And that is something that takes practice. I wish that it was one of those things that you can just like hear once and then do it, but that definitely wasn't the case for me. I needed to practice this of, okay, I'm interacting with somebody, let's see what I can learn about this person beyond what they're just saying. So that is my third tip. That was definitely one of the biggest changes for me when I practiced doing that. That had a very big effect. And the last one, and it kind of ties into the one I was saying before, but you do have to practice starting with something easy and something that is within your control, rather than setting goals that are outside of your control. Like I said, if my goal is to make a new friend, that's not necessarily as much in my control as just actually saying the word hi. And that's all I have to do, right? You don't have to say it perfectly. You don't have to say it in a cool way. You don't have to have the person respond well. All you have to do is say it, and that counts as practice. And that was something that I wanted to bring up about practice as well. So I grew up playing cello, excuse me, and the wonderful thing about practice is that you don't have to do it perfectly to be improving with every repetition. So, when I was playing cello, if there was a piece that was very difficult and I'm practicing a little excerpt of it, I didn't have to practice it perfectly. I didn't only get better when I did it exactly right. You get better with intentionally trying to improve the thing. And even if I get it wrong 10 times in a row, but each time I tweak and I try to make it a little bit better, get a little bit closer, all of that eventually does add up to getting better at the thing overall. So don't expect perfect practice. Just practice with intention and practice things that are doable. So a couple tips on doable practice for shyness and for practicing interacting with people. I do think that the first step, if you're really shy or uncomfortable, is practice with kids or babies and animals. They're a lot less scary, I think, to interact with. And so what do I mean by that? Talk to the dog when someone's walking by with their dog. Say, hi puppy. Or if you see a baby, at the grocery store, wave to the baby. You don't have to do anything else, but little bits of interaction with somebody or something else, that counts as practice too. And I really did have to start at that point first. I had to start with non-intimidating or less intimidating beings before I could move on to people my age or adults or whoever. Another tip for practicing with the right group of people, I really recommend practicing with service workers or people who are in the service industry. Especially in the US, I know this isn't true of all countries, but in the US, waiters are going to be more polite in general than just a random person off of the street. And that politeness can be a very good support for you when you're trying to learn how to talk to somebody at all. And again, I'm not saying you have to ask the waiter all about their life, but can you look them in the eyes and say hi and say thank you and ask for more water if you need a refill. That type of practice is a lot more, it's a little bit safer than just someone off of the street and more doable because of that. Let's see, what else did I want to say about practice? Oh, and this one more tip that for me made a huge difference as a shy person. When you have to look at somebody in the eyes and practicing eye contact, I had to do that too. I couldn't even say anything to anybody. I couldn't say words, let alone look at them in the eyes. And so I had to practice looking at people in the eye. But I found that if you stare right here in between their eyes, that people can't tell that you're not looking at them in the eyes. And it is way less intimidating to maintain eye contact when you're looking here than when you're actually looking them in the eyes. So I recommend trying that too. And so I would what I would do is go up to, I'd be in line at the grocery store and the cashier, I would look them in the eyes, but I would look at them right here. And that was the first baby step, right, that I took to work on all of this. So that's it. That's all the tips. I really do feel like those were the big things that got me from being as terrified as I was to have social interactions and identifying as a shy person to really not having that be an issue anymore for me. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I am rooting for you, and I'm so excited to if this helps you, because I remember how painful it was, and I don't want anybody to feel that way. And you don't have to feel that way. You can change the way that you feel when you interact with people. And like I said, you don't need to become a totally new person. You don't have to become this super extrovert if that's not genuinely you. You can be your quieter, more introverted, soft-spoken self if that's who you are. But it doesn't have to hurt when you interact with people. So that's all I have for today. If you do want coaching, I have a link, I'll put it in the description below, but my website is tiffany/alyssa.com, and I do private coaching sessions, so if you are interested in that, I would love to hear from you. We can schedule an appointment, but until next time, that's all I got. Thank you.